Blue light falling through the blinds again, painting silver lines across your skin. The city hums beneath the window frame, like it knows we're trying not to say a thing. You sit across from me with tired eyes, holding coffee that is long gone cold. Every little silence feels alive. Every little glance says more than words. I hear the elevator down the hall, a distant sound fading into night. Funny how the smallest things stand out when somebody starts to change your life. The clock keeps moving but the room stands still. Your shadow dances softly on the wall. I wonder if you're feeling what I feel, or if I'm reading stories and through all of this. Maybe it's the way you say my name, maybe it's the way you look away, maybe it's the midnight in the air, making everything feel different. In this blue hallway, between goodbye and stay, we're standing in the quiet, watching feelings rearrange. Nothing moving fast, nothing needing words, just your eyes meeting mine like a secret being heard. In this blue hallway, time is drifting slow, and every step we don't take feels like somewhere we could go. I don't need an answer now, I don't need to know. I just want this moment before it learns to let us go. Street lights shimmer on the kitchen floor, a golden river running through the dark. You laugh at something neither of us heard, and somehow that becomes my favorite part. Your jacket hangs beside the bedroom door, still carrying traces of the rain, the scent of distant places in the cloth, and stories that you never fully say. Outside the traffic fades to almost none, the city finally starts to fall asleep, but every thought inside my restless mind keeps circling around you quietly. Maybe we're two satellites at night, drifting close enough to share a glow. Maybe we're a sentence left unfinished, waiting for the courage to be told. Maybe it's the late night atmosphere, maybe all my doubts disappear every time your voice gets soft and fills the spaces in the room. In this blue hallway, between goodbye and stay, standing in the quiet, watching feelings rearrange. Nothing moving fast, nothing needing words, just your eyes meeting mine like a secret being heard. In this blue hallway, time is drifting slow, and every step we don't take feels like somewhere we could go. I don't need an answer now, I don't need to know. I just want this moment before it learns to let us go. The night is breathing through the open screen, carrying echoes from another street. Somewhere a radio is playing low, a song neither of us seems to know. Your silhouette is fading into blue, the kind of color only midnight makes, and every passing second feels suspended, like the world itself decided it could wait. I think about tomorrow for a while, about trains and schedules and daylight, how ordinary hours always arrive to interrupt the magic of the night. But right now nothing feels temporary, right now the future isn't asking questions, right now we're floating somewhere in between what we are and what we might become. If I reached out, would the distance disappear, or would the moment lose its fragile shape? So I stay here and memorize the scene, every shadow, every breath, every trace. The hallway light flickers once and settles, a quiet star above the wooden floor. And in that gentle glow I finally realize I've never wanted less, I never wanted more. In this blue hallway, everything feels clear. All the noise I've carried slowly disappears. You don't have to promise, you don't have to stay, but tonight your presence feels enough to light the way. In this blue hallway, the city fades below, and all the things I'm scared to lose, they're holding, let me go. Maybe when the morning comes, nothing here will show, but I'll keep this feeling like a song I'll always know. In this blue hallway, between goodbye and stay, something quiet found a home and chose not to run away. Even if the dawn arrives and carries us apart, there'll always be a blue hallway somewhere inside my heart. Blue light through the window, slow shadows on the floor. The city sleeping underneath us, nothing more, nothing less. Just the night, just your voice, just the feeling I don't wanna forget. Blue hallway, blue hallway, still glowing when I close my eyes. Your name still lingers in the morning air, like perfume trapped inside an empty room. I wake before the sunlight finds the floor and reach for thoughts that always lead to you. The city hasn't opened up its eyes, the trains are sleeping underneath the streets. And in the hush before the world begins, I hear your voice repeating quietly. There's something different in the way we talk, the pauses don't feel awkward anymore. The distance that we carried for so long doesn't feel as heavy as before. 1,000 little moments start to bloom inside the corners of an ordinary day, and suddenly the things I used to miss are standing right in front of me. Every word arrives so naturally, like it already knew where it belonged. Every glance becomes a memory before the moment's gone. Slow neon glowing in your eyes, turning empty streets to paradise. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, just a feeling settling down. Slow neon washing over me like a dream that's finally becoming real. No fireworks, no sudden fall, just your voice above it all. Slow neon, slow neon, keeping the darkness beautiful. We walk beneath the signs that never sleep, their colors sliding softly through the rain. The reflections dancing on the pavement turn familiar roads into something strange. Your shoulder brushes lightly against mine, and neither one of us pulls away. The smallest touch becomes a universe that follows me for days and days. A passing car dissolves into the night, the headlights stretching briefly through the dark. And for a second everything around us looks exactly like a piece of art. I never thought I'd notice simple things, the shape of clouds reflected in a storm, or how your laughter changes at the end, like it has somewhere safe to go. Maybe love begins this quietly, maybe that's the reason it survives. Not in grand declarations, but in moments like tonight. Slow neon glowing in your eyes, turning empty streets to paradise. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, just a feeling settling down. Slow neon washing over me like a dream that's finally becoming real. No fireworks, no sudden fall, just your voice above it we don't need to name this feeling. Maybe some things grow best in the dark, like flowers opening after midnight, or melodies arriving after dusk. The future stretches far beyond the skyline, a landscape neither one of us can see. But for the first time I don't feel afraid of all the things tomorrow might bring, because your presence changes every question, turns uncertainty into something soft, and every road ahead feels less lonely, simply because you're walking on it too. So let the city keep its endless motion, let the night continue drifting by. We'll keep collecting little constellations made from ordinary moments in time. Slow neon glowing in your eyes, brighter than the skyline late at night. Every second, every breath feels suspended in the light. So neon, pull me closer without ever asking me to move. A gentle gravity, a quiet truth that keeps leading me to you. Slow neon across the avenue, slow neon in everything you do, slow neon burning softly through the dark, leaving little pieces of itself inside my heart. The signs are fading, morning's drawing near, but your reflection still remains here. Slow neon on rainy streets, slow neon in fading dreams, slow neon wherever I go. I think I'll always see your glow. Velvet static, still humming on. There's a softness in the way you speak, like you're holding something just behind your teeth. A thought unfinished, a door half open, a truth floating somewhere underneath. The air is warm, the room is dim, your silhouette dissolves into the glow, and every word between us lands like it's trying not to let too much show. We talk about cities we've never seen, about old songs and strangers on trains, about the weather, about anything except the thing circling our names. Your eyes stay on the ceiling light, mine drift toward the window frame, and somewhere in the quiet space I wonder if you're doing the same. There's a frequency I almost hear, a signal buried underneath, something pulling at my heart just beyond my reach. Velvet static in the dark, running softly through my heart. Not enough to call it love, too much to call it nothing. Velvet static in the air, like your shadow everywhere. Every time I think it's gone, it comes humming back again. Velvet static, low and slow, the kind of feeling nobody knows how to explain until it owns them. A week goes by, then 2, then 3, and somehow everything still feels the same. We're moving forward and standing still, caught between caution and a flame. You send a message after midnight, midnight, a photograph of city lights. No context, no explanation, just something beautiful in the night. I stare at it longer than I should, searching for meanings that might not exist, reading emotions into pixels like they're hiding in the mist. Maybe I'm foolish for wondering, maybe I'm wise enough to wait, but every answer that I imagine only seems to complicate. You move closer then pull away, like a tide returning to the sea. And every time I think I understand, you become a mystery. Velvet static in the dark, running softly through my heart. Not enough to call it love, too much to call it nothing. Velvet static in the air, like a shadow everywhere. Every time I think it's gone, it comes humming back again. Velvet static, low and slow, the kind of feeling nobody knows how to explain until it owns them. Maybe some connections aren't meant to arrive with certainty. Maybe they exist between the lines and unfinished possibilities. The night outside keeps changing colors, blue to violet, violet to black. And I keep tracing circles in my thoughts, trying to find a simple path, but feelings aren't maps and hearts aren't clocks. They don't obey directions, they don't stop when asked. Sometimes they linger in doorways, refusing to leave. Sometimes they bloom quietly, without permission, without reason, without warning. You become part of the background music, part of the skyline after rain, part of the habits I don't notice until you're suddenly absent again. And that's what scares me, not losing something I had, but missing something I never knew was mine. The uncertainty settles around me like soft electricity, beautiful enough to keep, painful enough to question. And still I stay here, listening carefully to the signal beneath the silence, hoping one day it becomes clear. Velvet static in the dark, like a record skipping in my heart. Every memory, every glance playing somewhere in the sparks. Velvet static in the rain, calling softly through my name. Neat but near, not far away, always somewhere in between. Velvet static, never loud, never gone, never fully found, just enough to keep me awake long after midnight, long after you're gone. Velvet static, still humming on, light across the avenue, the train disappearing underground, your name resting in my thoughts without a sound. Velvet static, the dark. Velvet static, my heart's still there when everything else falls quiet. The rain arrives sometime after 2, soft enough to disappear into the street. The city wore a silver-colored haze, and every sound felt distant and incomplete. I found your message waiting on my screen, just a simple line, nothing more than that. But somehow it stayed with me all night, like a melody I couldn't quite forget. There's a space between the words we choose, a hidden current underneath the tone, a language made of hesitation, of things we feel but never fully own. And every conversation leaves behind 1,000 tiny traces in the air, invisible but impossible to miss, like fingerprints that linger everywhere. Something keeps moving underneath the surface of these quiet days, a signal neither one of courage yet to name. Between frequencies, you and me, like two stations in the dark, sending pieces of our hearts through the static endlessly. Between frequencies, I can hear everything you never say, in the silence that remains when your voice fades from the line. Between frequencies, I get closer to the truth and farther from knowing what to do. The evening settles gently on the town. Storefront lights begin to flicker gold. People pass like temporary ghosts, disappearing into stories of their own. I wonder if you think of me sometimes when the day finally slows enough to breathe, when you're staring through a train window, watching blurred reflections in the glass. Because I find you everywhere these days, in coffee cups and traffic lights, and songs playing from distant apartments, and sleepless hours after midnight. It's strange how someone can become a part of every landscape that you see, without ever stepping any closer than the space they already occupy. Maybe we're both standing here on opposite sides of the same door, waiting for a sign. Neither wants to ask for first. Between frequencies, you and me, like two stations in the dark, sending pieces of our hearts through the static endlessly. Between frequencies, I can hear everything you never say, in the silence that remains when your voice fades from the line. Between frequencies, every night I get closer to the truth and farther from knowing what to do. There are moments when the distance disappears, not physically, not enough to measure, but emotionally, like some invisible thread pulling gently through the noise. I feel it when your laughter changes at the end of a sentence. I feel it when a conversation should end, but somehow continues for another hour and another and another. I feel it when we both stop speaking, yet neither one of us hangs up, as if silence itself has become a place to meet. The city outside continues moving, traffic lights changing colors, people falling in and out of love, entire worlds beginning and ending without a knowledge. Yet here we remain, suspended in a moment, neither arriving nor leaving, just existing inside this beautiful uncertainty. Sometimes I imagine what would happen if one of us finally said it. Would everything become brighter, or would dispel this all? Would certainty feel comforting, or would we miss the fragile magic of not knowing? The rain keeps falling, the night keeps breathing, and somewhere between hope and hesitation, I hear your name like a song searching for its final note. Between frequencies, you and me, closer than we've ever been, without touching anything but the edges of a dream. Between frequencies, I still hear the future calling softly through every little thing you do, every word you leave behind. Between frequencies, the world fades into blue, and all the roads I follow somehow lead to you. Between frequencies, you remain a signal in the dark that keeps finding its way back to my heart. The call has ended, but the feeling stays like distant radio lights. bounce across the haze, between frequencies, between the noise, between the silence. I hear your voice, still drifting, still glowing, still there. The autumn air arrived without a sound, slipping through the cracks around the door. The same apartment, same familiar view, but somehow it doesn't feel the same anymore. Your coffee mug still sits beside the sink, a quiet monument to ordinary days. Nothing dramatic happened in the end. No storm, no shattered glass, no flames. Just little things becoming less frequent, messages arriving slower than before, conversations ending just a bit earlier than the night would usually allow. I tell myself it's only circumstance, schedules change and life moving ahead. But deep beneath the comfort of that thought, something restless lingers in my chest. There's a distance growing softly, like shadows stretching toward the dawn. Nobody can point to when it started, only notice when it's gone. This is a soft departure, no slammed doors, no last goodbye. Just two hearts drifting slowly, like clouds across a fading sky. This is a soft departure, quiet as snowfall in the night. Nobody leaves all at once, they disappear a little at a time. Soft departure, slow and blue, like a song still playing after the singer's gone. I walk the streets we used to wander, past neon signs reflected in the rain. The city hasn't changed around me, yet everything feels rearranged. The bookstore where we spend an afternoon still glows beneath the evening lights. The corner cafe closes at the same time, the train still rattles through the night. But memories move differently than places, they reshape familiar roads, turning ordinary intersections into small museums of ghosts. I pass a window filled with warm light and catch myself about to reach my phone before remembering the habit belongs to a version of us that's gone. Break. Maybe sometimes it simply fades, like daylight leaving slowly without asking to be saved. This is a soft departure, no anger left to defend, no villains in the story, no enemies at the end. This is a soft departure, slow and blue, like a train disappearing into morning fog. I've spent so many nights trying to identify the moment, the exact second when things began to change. But memory isn't a photograph, it's water, always moving, always reshaping itself. Maybe there was no single moment, maybe it happened gradually. In the spaces between plans and postponed conversations, in the tiredness we never talked about, and the assumptions we stopped questioning. Sometimes I think the saddest endings aren't explosive, they're quiet, because quiet endings leave room for imagination, for wondering, for all the alternative futures that never had a chance to exist. I still hope you're sleeping well, I still hope the city that's enough. Maybe not every connection is meant to last forever. Maybe some people arrive simply to change the shape of your heart before continuing onward into the rest of their lives and yours. This is a soft departure, a quiet turning of the page, a chapter ending gently without bitterness or blame. This is a soft departure, but the feeling remains, like warmth left in a room long after the fire fades. Soft departure, soft goodbye, soft echoes through the night. Though the road keeps moving and the years roll on, part of me will always carry the place where you belong. Soft departure, soft departure, still lingering in the dawn. The morning comes, the city wakes, the trains begin, the pavement shakes. Somewhere far beyond my sight, you're living another day, while pieces of our yesterday flow slowly away. Soft departure, soft departure, soft departure, like mist dissolving into light. The room is quiet except for the fan, tracing circles through the summer air. A pale moon hangs above the neighboring roofs, like it's waiting for someone who isn't there. I leave the television muted again, just to fill the silence with a little light, the kind that flickers softly on the walls and keeps me company through half the night. It's strange how habits outlive circumstances, how they linger after people leave. My hand still reaches for the other side of conversations that no longer breathe. I still think of things I like to tell you, small details collected through the day. A song I found, a bookstore on a corner, little pieces of a life that's moved away. Some nights I almost hear you, some nights I almost call, some nights the distance feels impossible, some nights it feels small. I'm a moonlit receiver, catching signals from the past, holding fragments of a feeling I thought would never last. Moonlit receiver, listening through the blue to every memory still floating in the space that leads to you. Moonlit receiver, late at night, searching through the static for a familiar light. The city glows beneath the midnight haze, windows shining like scattered constellations, everyone connected by invisible threads of longing, dreams and destinations. I wonder where you are this evening, what kind of weather fills your sky, whether you're laughing with somebody new or simply watching strangers pass by. There's no jealousy left inside me now, just curiosity and grace, the gentle understanding that sometimes love changes form but keeps its place. You taught me things without intending to, about patience, time and letting go, about how a heart can break quietly and still continue learning how to grow. The ache is softer than before, the wound no longer feels brand new. But certain nights the moon arrives and brings me back to you. I'm a moonlit receiver, catching signals from the past, holding fragments of a feeling I thought would never last. Moonlit receiver, listening through the blue to every memory still floating in the space that without needing to return. Maybe it's looking at an old photograph and smiling instead of grieving. Maybe it's hearing a familiar song without feeling the floor disappear beneath you. There was a time when every memory felt heavy, like carrying rain inside my chest. Every street corner, every cafe window, every train passing after midnight seemed determined to remind me of everything I lost. But loss changes shape. If you give it enough seasons, the sharp edges soften, the echoes spread out until they become part of the landscape. Not a wound but a landmark, a place you once visited, a place that helped make you who you are now. And tonight, looking out across the sleeping city, I realized something. I no longer miss the future I imagined for us the way I used to. What I miss now is simply the beauty of having known you at all. And somehow that feels lighter than sadness, closer to gratitude than regret. I'm a moonlit receiver, but the signal's growing faint. Not because it wasn't real, but because time has changed. I'm a moonlit receiver, standing in the glow, watching old emotions turn to something warm and slow. Moonlit receiver, through the years, keeping only what was beautiful and letting go of fear. I'm a moonlit receiver. One last time, thank you for the memories that still shine when the world goes quiet and the night turns blue. Moonlit receiver, still smiling when I think of you. The moon hangs low above the town, the traffic fades, the night slows down. And somewhere beyond these lights, beyond the roads we knew, life keeps unfolding. For me, for you. Moonlit receiver, signing off at last. The city looks different now somehow. The same streets, the same lights, the same old trains. But time has folded gently over everything, softening the outlines of the pain. A year ago I couldn't cross this avenue without hearing echoes of your name. Now I walk beneath the midnight sky and feel the night without the weight. The river still reflects the towers, silver ribbons drifting through the dark. And somewhere in those quiet moving waters, I see pieces of who we were. Not clearly, not completely, just enough to recognize, like an old photograph discovered in the back of a forgotten drawer. I don't reach for it, I don't look away, I simply let it stay. The past no longer pulls me under, the memories no longer ask me why. They float beside me like companions as the seasons pass me by. After midnight, we spoke in whispers like the night was listening to. Every silence, every heartbeat led me somewhere close to you. After midnight, we built a world between the shadows and the dawn. And though the hours carried us away, the feeling still lives on. After midnight, I finally understand. Some stories aren't meant to last forever, to matter. The station platform glows beneath the rain, just like it did that evening long ago, when neither one of us could find the words for things we both both already seem to know. I smile at the memory now, not because I wish it back again, but because it happened. Because for a little while, two separate lives moved together through the dark and created something beautiful. No matter how brief the years have taught me that endings don't erase beginnings, and distance doesn't invalidate connection. A song remains a song, even after the final note. A sunset remains beautiful, even after the sky turns black, and love remains meaningful, even when it changes shape. There was never anything broken, there was never anything lost. Only moments becoming memories, as all moments eventually must. After midnight, we spoke in whispers like the night was listening to. Every silence, every heartbeat led me somewhere close to you. After midnight, we built a world between the shadows and the dawn. And though the hours carried us away, the feeling still lives on. After midnight, I finally understand. Some stories are meant to last forever. To matter. I used to think closure was a destination, a door that opened once all the questions were answered. But now I think closure is quieter than that. It's waking up one morning and realizing you no longer need the answers. You no longer need to know what could have happened, what should have happened, or why things unfolded the way they did. You simply accept that life is larger than certainty, that people arrive with gifts they don't even realize they're carrying. A conversation, a season, a lesson, a mirror, a light, and then they continue onward toward futures that belong to them, just as you continue toward yours. The night air moves gently through the city, carrying distant sounds, open windows, passing trains, late night laughter. And for the first time in a very long time, I feel completely present, not trapped inside yesterday, not waiting for tomorrow, just here, breathing, listening alive. The moon hangs above the skyline, exactly where it always was. And I finally understand, the beauty was never in holding on, the beauty was in having experienced it at all. After midnight, we spoke in whispers, and those whispers changed my life. They taught me patience, they taught me longing, they taught me how to survive. After midnight, we shared a chapter written softly in the dark. And though the pages reached an ending, they still live inside my heart. After midnight, the years rolled on, the city changed, the seasons flew, but every road that brought me here was shaped in part by you. After midnight, I raise a quiet glass to every beautiful moment that was never meant to last. After midnight, I let it go with gratitude instead of grief, and watch it drift into the stars beyond my reach. The skyline fades into the dawn, the night departs, the dream moves on. No sadness now, no need to chase, only the warmth that memory leaves. After midnight, we spoke in whispers, and somewhere in the distance the echoes still remain. Soft as moonlight, soft as rain, soft as a voice calling from another